Okay, so today we're going to take a look at another EDH deck. This one's going to be mono black with Drana Liberator of Malakir as the commander. So, specifically, this was one that was not as thematic as others. This is more of just a fun kind of deck, and basically just runs the series of flyers, just focusing on attack. Pretty simple in terms of mechanics, but runs Drana Liberator of Malakir as the commander. Flying first strike. Whenever it deals combat damage to a player, put a +1/+1 counter on each attacking creature you control. So this one's pretty excellent in terms of a low-level commander who has great abilities, and having the flying is fantastic. So I have a couple things arranged here, so we'll just do creatures first, and then I'll put these off. So, Shimmy Inspector. Whenever the Shimmy Inspector deals combat damage to a player, you can reveal a non-land card. This is great just for a little annoying flyer. The Mind Rack Demon. Pretty good in terms of its mana cost. I like having these like low mana cost demon creatures. So Flying Trample, you mill 4. And then Delirium, lose 4 life unless you have the 4 more card types. He's also a flyer too with Trample, so why not? And then Vrock, Toxic Spores. Beginning of your end step, if a permanent you control left the battlefield this turn, each opponent lose 3 life. So he's a flyer, he can deal some extra damage out. Felt he was pretty good. Got Eternal Bond too. I felt he was just a great addition. You'll see I just have like a bunch of these higher mana cost cards, which are mono black, which are really just fun. I love that art on that one too. That one's fantastic. Then I just picked up this one recently. I don't know how effective it is actually, but 4 mana cost, it can keep coming back. It's 5/2. Flash flying. Pestilence Demon. This one's just absolutely mean if you're able to pop this off. So, able to deal out 1/1 mana for damage. Crashing Drawbridge. Defender. Gives things haste. I just like it. And it's a way to give mono black haste. There's not a lot of things that can. And Mages of the Coffers, so just for the extra mana. Archfiend of Depravity, again a flyer, and this also kind of controls the board state a little bit. Butcher Malakir, another flyer, and also pretty mean when it's on board state. Desecration Demon, this is an easy add, so this can control stuff pretty well. I've never had a time where it's not been useful. Soul Collector is actually not that like useful, but I kind of like it as a card. Plus, it does have flying, so I can kind of trick people out with the morph sometimes. I've had that happen a couple. Vengeful Vampire is not necessarily good at all, but I just like it. It's effectively not that great for its mana cost, but it does have the Undying and it's got flying. Plus, he's just cool looking. Deathbringer Regent, this is just easy because he's just a bomb. And also he can remain the single only flyer on the battlefield. So again, another big bomb flyer. You'll see basically the whole deck. Tormented Soul, just for that one unblockable. I think he's a staple for any black. Mono black. Demon of Loathing, another good one. Deals combat damage. That player sacrifices a creature. And with the trample, I mean, 7/7 for a flyer is great. The Mogus Marauder, another one that can give Intimidate and haste for devotion. So, he's pretty good. Lord of the Void, one of my favorite demons, so this one can actually grab off the top of other people's decks. I think he's great. Gary's just a staple, just for the pips. Stronghold Overseer, Flying Shadow, and can pump. The Asmodeus the Archfiend. I don't know if this is actually that good. I just think he's alright. But he's a 6/6. And Haven't really worked out how to do his draw ability super great yet, so we'll see. Vampire Nighthawk, so easy add. Elder Brain I got as a promo, so I just threw in the Elder Brain just cause, why not? 6/6 with Menace. And play lands, cast spells, why not? Hellborn Barghast I just think is cool. He doesn't really affect super much, but 7/6 body, so that's fine. The Dark Hatchling I just think is amazing in terms of the art. So, also destroys on it, ETB. Crypt Gas, why wouldn't you have the Crypt Gas in mono black? The Thesis is fun. This, I always like putting out as early as possible, just to lock things down a little bit. It's just a more of a keep your eye on the clock kind of thing. Deathclad is amazing. If you're able to pop this off, it's super mean. Even though it affects yourself, but you just gotta prepare for that. Or it's a really good shot. If you're losing pretty badly, you might as well board wipe everybody. Read the Bones, again, just good card advantage. I got this nice Grim Tutor. I figured I'd put the Grim Tutor in. Yahenni's Experience. This one's great because it's a -3/-3 and with a free cast. So this could be really great for doing like a board wipe, but then also playing a single creature. Feed the Swarm just for the enchantment removal. I got this beautiful Damnation on my Time Spiral packs, so that one's going in for sure. The Ether Snap. This one's really great just for its usefulness, and I also have another reason for it. I'll show you later. Ancient Craving, draw 3 cards, lose 3 life just for the card advantage. Demonic Tutor, and this one's the Mystical Archive one. It's probably the coolest looking Demonic Tutor. I think that one's amazing. The Flaying Tendrils just for token killer if I had to. And since this card has no color, they can't have protection from anything. And then if they would die, exile them instead, so that gets rid of other shit. So the Flaying Tendrils I think is a great card. The Spinning Darkness, just because I think it's neat. And you can cast for free. Just for that last minute, just in case you're about to die kind of move. The Discerning Taste, just for a little bit of life gain. A little bit of card advantage. It's only 3 mana. The Skeletal Scrying, just for, again, card draw. Doomblade, why not Doomblade? Bioblight, another token killer. I just need to be able to kill tokens because everything on mine is just one-on-one huge flyers. So I'd rather be able to do all that. Can't stand up against big armies, I think. Grasp of Darkness, I think this is just great. -4/-4 for 2 mana. How could you go wrong? Murder, classic Murder. Although there are other cards for 3 mana that I could easily put in. Fatal Push is another one that comes to mind. But I think I'm going to have that in here. I'm not 100% sure. The False Cure. The False Cure is good just in case you end up against anybody with like a super amount of life gain, or I think that was pretty neat. The Grim Return, just in case you need to steal something of yours back or steal something somebody else's. Gift of Doom. This one is pretty neat for last-ditch effort. Kind of like if there's a board wipe coming, might as well. The Blessing of Leeches. So actually, let me just put this one together. Just because I like these two systematically. So you can play it at any time. You can play an instant. At the beginning of your upkeep, you lose 1 life. And then you can regenerate enchanted creature. So, this one's great. You have a blocker. Just pay 1 life a turn, and then you have a perfect blocker every time. Then, that works also, I feel, with the Ragged Veins. Even though they're both from the same block, of course. And then you could play this one at any time. You could play an instant also. And whenever enchanted creature is dealt damage to controller loses that much life. So I love popping this on as soon as somebody pops a creature as a blocker. And the fact that you can play both of them at the same time, you can set up your guy, and then he can set up his guy. If he's attacking you, you can make your creature regenerate, and you can have him be dealt a bunch of damage. So it's for 5 mana, that is a destructive return move. especially if you're dealing with creatures that are huge flyers. Fuse of the Unicorn, this is kind of unexpected usually for most people. They don't see that coming a lot, but just 4 mana for +4/+0, that could be devastating if you already have a gigantic flyer with trample. The Painful Quandary, I feel, is great just because this can really detriment people who are kind of like on the cusp of being out of a hand. So losing 5 life, discarding a card's not that big of a deal, but if you can't discard a card or you don't want to, losing that 5 life is very detrimental. Tainted Remedy, and then that just kind of shuts down life gain again. Underworld Dreams, this is to shut down card draw, because that's another one. Mono blue card draw kind of does beat this really good because of all those spells that they can cast, but if you're able to deal a bunch of damage to them at the same time, then why not? Now for some artifacts, the Quietus Spike, just for being able to deal as much life damage as possible. And then an Icy Manipulator. I like this one just because for that 1 mana, being able to tap down something at your choice every turn is kind of fantastic. Soul Ring, just for the mana. I mean, why wouldn't you have Soul Ring? And then Mind's Eye. This one out giving you a little bit of card advantage when somebody else is getting card advantage is pretty good too. The Heirloom Mirror, this is just kind of more of like a fun one. You can get a little bit of like churn for a card. You pay a life every once in a while, and then this can flip to a creature. So it's a 4/4. Quicksilver Amulet, just so that way you can get out some of the bigger creatures without having to pay some, because there are some 7 mana costs, so I figured for 1 more, might as well put out the Amulet. Then I have 2 Planeswalkers that also go in this deck. That's going to be Count Dracula. This one I just think goes really well thematically in the deck, and being able to deal a 26 life swing if you're able to ult him is pretty darn strong. And then of course Liliana of Veil. This one is just a fantastic mono black commander, or Planeswalker. 3 mana, super simple. I actually also want to run an Obnix list, but I don't have him just yet. And then for the lands, the reason that I was able to put a bunch of cards that are pretty darn good and powerful into the deck is because the mono black makes the mana base super simple. Everything's a basic land that I have here, except for these 2. Now this is where the Ether Snap from before comes in, because, as I'm sure many people are well aware, where did I put that thing? Yeah, anyway, the Ether Snap can get rid of all the counters on it, which I'm sure you're well aware of. I mean, anybody can just look it up. But it says remove all counters. It says the ice counters, you can get the Merit Lash. So there you go. Then also the Rogue's Passage, just for the unblockableness. That's pretty nice. And then everything else is just kind of basic land. But we'll kind of go through them because I do have a lot of different ones in here. That one's kind of neat. Classic. Simple. Pretty good. That one's classic looking too. I like that. That one's kind of a plain S. Yeah, that one's regular too. That one's cool. Yeah, I like that. Classic from Tempest. That one's cool. That one's alright. Yeah, full art. And the Lorwyn one, probably the best one I've ever made. And that's a pretty classic one too, I like that. Okay. Oh, that one's great. I like that one a lot too. So, overall pretty good. Drana, pretty great single commander. Does pretty well against other opponents also, because the thing is like, as you can see, it's mostly just swinging with larger creatures that are flying. So, to deal with people, you kind of have to just have answers and some field enchantments. So the field enchantments are just kind of to have people leave you alone, and then if you need to sting them, you can sting them. So far so good.